So what, like Martin Truex builds RC cars, right? That's his,
I love that.
his thing. What do you got at your house that's something you're working on? Is that, I guess, sim racing?
Yeah, I got sim racing. So I've been sim racing a lot lately because I feel like it helped me on the restarts and stuff. Like I was kind of struggling on the restarts. So I was
Mike,
like,
you hear that?
I was like, man, I need to.
Mike doesn't believe sim racing's helpful
not
to
true.
race car
It's
driving.
Well,
not
I know
true.
you and Jeff Gluck are probably the two that don't.
No, I'm not. I'm not even that. I give these guys a hard time, but no, I
Yeah.
So I have to ask you. So you are sort of the, one of the poster guys for the sim racer that, I know that in your eyes, you probably don't feel like sim racing made you a race car driver. You just happened to be coinciding in your life as a hobby of yours. You were a race car driver that liked to sim race,
Right.
which is pretty much what I was. But you are to the sim racing community. You're one of the guys that made it. That sim race sim racing helped you, and you would say that sim racing helped you. How comfortable are you with that label? And explain that label to us. A lot of people want to think that you were a sim racer that became a racer, which isn't really true. So explain to us exactly sort of where that fits.
Yeah, it's a tough balance because guys kind of label that, me as the iRacing guy or whatever. And at first I was like, man, I don't want to be considered that. I look at all the races I won in legend cars and look at all the stuff that I'm doing in late models. I'm like, and you kind of want to make that separation, right? It's kind of like being away from high school or something. So it was that was a big deal at first, but now I've kind of realized, there's I can kind of paint it with a broader brush and say, I still use it to help me. It might not be exact, but I still use it. So I got to vocalize and tell people I do that. So
so you embrace it.
I embrace it now more than I did before.
I know you were invited to possibly become a team owner in the esports side on iRacing. So I was kind of curious when I heard about that invitation to become an owner on the esports iRacing Peak League, I thought, man, I hope he embraces that part of his sort of history or his story. Yeah. I didn't know if you were sort of still distancing yourself from it.
No, I think I'm pretty interested in that. Steve and I talked a little bit.
That's
Steve
cool.
Myers, and he told me basically how to, just in a pretty short conversation about how to get started. So I'm pretty interested in it. I love watching them. When I watched that All-Star race that they had on NBC, that was pretty cool.
It was good.
That was cool.
that was very cool, actually. Yeah.
And now they have announced that they're going to broadcast live the final championship race for the Peak Series on NBCSN at the end of the year.
That's cool.
Yeah,
I didn't
so
know
that'll be the very first.
Is it for $100,000 or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's $100,000 I think total in prize money, but I think the champion might get 20 or something. I'm not sure, but there's a lot of money at stake. And so I like that, man. I'm proud I'm really thrilled that you're sort of embracing that part of your story, and it's your story to tell. And I'm glad that you're going to hopefully be a part of the esports side of it on iRacing because you're one of the guys that can help push it into, make it nuclear, make it more, bring awareness to it.
I actually when I started sim racing, the reason I started was because I saw you talking about it in a press conference. And I was like,
Wait, that's where you first started?
You were probably already racing.
I was already racing a little bit,
Right.
but I think it was 2012 or so, and you had talked about it at Homestead. I believe they had the whole Peak series was there.
That's right.
Yeah,
Ray,
crowning the champion,
Ray was there doing, Ray Alfalo, the guy, he's won like 4 championships. And you were talking about it. So you gave it like a legitimacy to it. And I was like, man, that's really cool. So I think about that when I'm talking about it.
Yeah.
And these kids are trying
That's what you're doing now.
get started.
You understand?
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You're legitimizing
You're
it, that's what you said.
legitimizing it.
Yeah.
You becoming an owner in the series. Anytime you ever couple it with your own career, it legitimizes it because I'm the past, right? I'm the guy that used to race and sim race, and I don't do really either one anymore. You're the guy that's still doing it today. You're the cup guy on the track on Sunday that they watch that they know they just sim raced last Tuesday, right? You're that guy.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's very cool.
I got something
I actually
for you.
did do some RC racing.
Well, you got man.
Yeah, so
I got a lot of that stuff. You want to come over to my house and buy it?
I love it.
I'll sell it to you for pennies on the dollar.
They used to have so when you talked about that with Truex, I think it was last year, sometime around the summer,
Yeah.
and that he raced RC boats. I was like, man, that's awesome, because I used to race at Scott Speed. Used to have a track up here in Mooresville, and I came here every Wednesday night when I was running Xfinity. I was up till like 1 a.m. racing those cars.
Really?
It was awesome.
At Scott's place?
Yeah, I got 4 of them sitting at, like, I learned how to build them. You know, I'm not really a car guy, so that's kind of how I learned, you know, what it's like.
Back when I was racing with Tony Jr. and Tony Sr., we were still in the Bud car. We bought, we bought a bunch of RC crap, tons of it. And I still have it all, and I don't know
really?
what the heck to do with it. And but I've got a couple cars. I got two cars that Leonard Wood built that'll never ever. I'll never drive them.
Yeah,
you know, because
what kind of cars are they?
They're gas powered. Probably, I guess they're probably 10th scale, but Leonard builds them. You know that, right?
I didn't know that.
You did not know that?
No, he comes up to me every race.
Dude,
now.
you got to tell him
Now
that.
it makes sense why he's asking you about RC cars.
All right, when Leonard comes back up to you, say, "Hey, man, I'd love to talk to you about RC cars." Just say that.
Yeah.
All right, and he will take it from there. And so you don't have to come out and ask him like, "Hey, man, I'd love you to build me a car." Just say, "I'd love to talk to you about RC cars," and then he will grab the ball and run with it.
Okay.
But he's built me 3 cars.
Yeah.
One I had for a while, and I ran and knocked the right front off of it, and he fixed it. But he built these other 2 cars for me, and I'm not going to run them. I'm going to keep them because he built them. Right. He designed them.
Yeah.
He's like this.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's crazy. He's
That's
like a
really
savant
cool.
with those things. But anyways,
that's really cool.
yeah, I got piles of that crap. And
It's tough, man. I got so many
quarter
tires.
scales.
Oh, do you really?
Yes.
You have the mini scales? Like
Quarter scales, like size cars.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah.
I got you.
We got into quarter scales
cars.
at one point.
Yeah.
Tony Jr., Tony Sr., me, old man.
Yeah.
Tony Gibson. We all had them.
Unreal.
And I kept about 10 of them at my shop, and they would come and run on my little oval track that I have right there on the property.
That's right. You built a track just for them.
We built the track just for RC cars.
That's right.
That's really cool. Was it oval?
Yeah.
It's
oval.
Yeah.
It's
That's
insane.
pretty cool.
Now it's all sitting.
Yeah.
Just wasting away.
It's like, man, if they had a track here,
I
should invest in that.
I have an original RC10, from the 80s chassis.
Yeah.
That thing's like worth some money.
Like Team Associated?
Yes.
Yeah.
From like 86,
cool one.
87. What is it, Matthew?
I heard him say something that was interesting right when he said about going up to Scott's thing. You said you're not a car guy, and you learned working on those things and building that. Can you expand on that? Because that's kind of
So you got the kit for the car. So all those good race cars, don't come pre-built. You can buy the ones
RC cars
that are cheap, that are pre-built, and those only run about a 16.8 when you need to run 15.1.
Yeah.
So, so I figured out how to, I got one of those kits, and I'm like, man, I have no idea what to do. Like, I don't know how to build the shocks. I don't know what springs to run. So I had to start asking people around the track there what springs to run. How do you prep the tires? So I had to learn how to. You got to sand the tires down, and you got to put tire prep on them and do all that. So I learned about that, and then I learned about making the shocks and not having air in the pistons or air inside the shock, and what a difference that makes and how it drives. So that's kind of my first experience. I never grew up working on cars or anything, so that was kind of my first thing, to take a car, a scale car, and sit there and work on it all day, be proud of it.
Yeah. This was when I first did my track, it was high banked concrete, and we had to put like mayonnaise in the right front shock.
Why?
To slow it down.
Because it was too fast? It would just...
We needed to stiffen up the rate of the shock, the compression, so we would put like a thicker fluid or like mayonnaise or something, or honey.
Yeah, whose idea was to put mayonnaise?
Yeah, honey's good. Honey would be great.
Honey would be great.
Because that's kind of like that shock fluid.
Yeah. It's the same viscosity, right?
Yeah,
we put it in there to
viscosity.
make it where it was still a shock absorber, but it was just tougher.
That's
like
fascinating.
adding compression to it.
Yeah. I wonder who's going to go home and put mayonnaise in their shocks.
Don't do it.
Matthew's raising his hand. Don't do it, he said.